In this video, we're going to be looking at how you can create beautiful sunflowers using watercolor pencil crayons. It's so much fun and really easy. Let's get started. To create our sunflowers, you're going to need a piece of cardboard, a pencil, your watercolor pencil crayons, a paintbrush, and some water. Right, so sunflowers are actually a circular shape. If you'd like to cheat like me, you can just use a bowl or a plate. Get a nice circle shape so that you know you're going to have a perfectly circular shape. We're just going to use this as a guide to help us get the shape of our sunflowers. Now I've decided to do a couple of sunflowers on my page, so I'm just going around with my bowl, drawing a few circles to mark out my sunflowers. So they'll look like a lovely pattern at the end. Right, we're just going to start with our middle one for now. So we're going to, inside our circle, draw a smaller circle that will be the center of the sunflower. So once you are happy with the circle you've drawn in the middle, you can start adding your petals. Now when you're drawing the petals of a sunflower, it's good to think of like S shapes, so you can see there's an S shape, and C shapes that come together at the bottom. Okay. So just keep thinking about S's and C's as you draw each of these leaves. To make sure that my petals are evenly distributed at the end, just going ahead and doing them equal spaces apart. So I'm drawing across from each other, then across from each other there. What you can also do is let some of these petals overlap each other. Some of them can be slightly skinnier, some of them slightly fatter. So if you make your petals each a little bit different, it will look more realistic. If you keep them all the same, it looks a little bit fake. So move around the flower, don't just stick to one spot. This will help you spread them out easily, and try and make each one a little bit different. Right, now that we've drawn out our sunflowers, we're just going to erase these circle lines and then we can begin colouring. Right, to start our colouring, we're actually going to start with an orange on the leaves. So the sunflowers are yellow, but if we add a little bit of orange and brown to those leaves, it will give the colour a little bit more depth. Now when you're colouring with the orange, we're just going to start at the base of the leaves and add a few little lines. Now sunflowers are yellow, but when we add different colors to it, it gives it more depth and interest. So we're just going to add a little bit of detail here. You don't want to put too much orange onto the petal, otherwise your sunflower will look orange instead of yellow. And you need to press fairly hard to make a more vibrant color. So if you color in lightly with your watercolor pastels, when you put water over it, it's just going to be a less vibrant color or a softer color, which sometimes you want that to happen in a picture, but for a sunflower you want it to be nice and bright and cheerful. So we're going to press fairly hard. I'm also drawing a little bit of an outline. I'm not just outlining the whole petal, but I'm just drawing lines up each side, or maybe one of the sides of the petals. Also remember that the petals that are behind other petals, like this one, will be slightly darker, so you want to put a bit more orange on that one so it comes out darker at the end. need to do a little bit of lighter colouring too, just to help the colours blend together. So if you just have these hard lines that you've pressed really hard with, there's not going to be much room for the colours to mix together. So you need to do some gentle colouring too. And we're also going to go with a brown and get a really nice, almost do a V shape at the bottom of each of these leaves. And that's going to just make the base of each of the petals a bit darker at the end. And then finally we're going to use our yellow. Now a sunflower is yellow, so most of our petals should be coloured in yellow. Pressing fairly hard. You can see I'm not too worried about colouring in neatly. It's more about putting the colour on the page so that the water can blend the colours together nicely. So the harder you press, the more pigment or colour you add to it, and the brighter it will be at the end. Right, once you are done colouring in with your yellow, you can take your paintbrush and just dip it in your water. And we're going to start with the lighter side. So you don't want to start where the brown is, you're going to start at the tip of the petal and pull the water down. And then once you've done that and most of your petal is yellow, you can just work around the bottom bits, blending them a little bit. If you start at the bottom, you're just going to smear brown over your whole petal. So it's best to start at the top where your lightest colour is, and then work your way down, then rub your paintbrush over it a few times to get it to blend. Right, so what we're going to do now is colour in the centre of our sunflower. Now these can be a whole lot of colours depending on how far along the sunflower is in its life. What we're going to do is have a little bit of black, some brown, and then add a little bit of yellow and orange to it. When you add a little bit of a colour from somewhere else in a picture, it ties the picture together. Okay, so we're going to start with our black, and we're just going to do a ring just on the inside of the center of the sunflower, and then in the center of it, in the exact center, you can see I'm doing like a little scribble, and some of that texture is going to show through after we've added the water, and it will make people think of lots of little seeds, because there are so many seeds in sunflowers. Okay, I'm going to go with my brown now. You can take this almost to the edge or the base of the petals. Again, I'm doing lots of scribbling, pressing really hard so we can get some nice vibrant colours. Okay, we add a bit more in the middle here. Don't fill the space with the brown, so leave bits of white on the page so that there's room for the yellow and the orange to show through too. So we just want a little bit of yellow popping up, and a little bit of orange. When you just colour something black, it can look quite plain, so it's nice to throw a few more colours in there. Right, just a touch more black. Okay, I think it's ready to paint now. Now when you paint it, don't just do long strokes over it. Think about how you used your pencil crayon, scribbling in lots of different directions, and do that with your paintbrush too. The more water you add, the easier it will be to blend these colours together. Right, and then you just repeat that on the sunflowers that you have in the background. Right, and there is our beautiful sunflower pattern. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, why don't you subscribe? We upload a new video every week. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more, why not check out our pencil crayon drawing of a lighthouse.